Be working with scale drawings, and we'll actually probably come back to this later in the chapter. A scale drawing is a proportional two-dimensional drawing of an object. So this would be like on paper. A scale model, on the other hand, is going to be three-dimensional. So like a toy car would be an example of a scale model. So it's a proportional three-dimensional figure of an object. The scale gives the ratio that compares the measurement of the drawing or the model to the actual measurements. So the key thing to remember is the first number in that ratio, if it's set up as a fraction, the top number is going to be like your model or scale drawing number, and your second number or your bottom number is going to be the actual number, okay? And that's very important to understand that. So here it says, what is the actual distance D between Cadillac and Detroit? So we're looking at a map. So a map is one place that's actually considered a model. A map is a shrunk down model of an actual distance. Okay, so here when we look at this, we've got our map, and I went ahead and did some marking so that we could see that it was actually, of these distances here, it was actually 1, 2, 3 and a half of those distances that were stated there. So the scale that they gave us was 1 to 50. So for every 1 centimeter, which for you guys is, I think it says centimeter in your book, but for me, because I'm up on a really large board, that's bigger than a centimeter, is the same as 50 miles. Okay, so that is my scale. So 1 centimeter was 50 miles. I measured out that it was 3.5 centimeters if we were able to take that without just like flying and not having to go across roads. So now we get to work like we did previously. We're going to cross multiply and then divide. So we're going to take 3.5 times 50. And then that divided by 1 is still the same. So 3.5 times 50 gives me 175 miles. So it's actually 175 miles between those two locations. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and practice using a scale and finding a distance. Oops. Okay, so here's another situation. It says if the scale of a map is 1 centimeter to 50 miles, so 1 to 50 if you like to see it as a fraction, which I prefer. What is the actual distance between the two cities that are 7 centimeters apart? So 7 centimeters, where's our centimeters? Well, that's our scale drawing, or we can match labels, that's the top. We're gonna cross multiply, divide, so 7 times 50 gives me 350, divided by 1 is still 350 miles. So two cities on a map are 7 centimeters apart. That means they're 350 miles apart in actual life. Okay. If the scale of a map is, once again, 1 centimeter to 50 miles, so 1 centimeter to 50 miles, what is the distance on a map between two cities that are actually 425 miles apart? So this would be where, if you're creating a scale figure, like you're creating the map, you're going to have to understand how far apart am I going to have those figures on the map? Well, my 425 miles is going to go on the bottom, because that's the actual distance. That's my mile labels. So now I'm going to cross multiply, divide. So 425 times 1 is 425 divided by 50 gives me 8.5. So I'm going to have to make sure if I'm drawing this on a map that I make them 8.5 centimeters apart. Okay. All right, I want you guys to try this one. It says if the scale of a map is 1 centimeter to 50 miles, what is the actual distance between two cities that are 3 centimeters apart on a map? You should have gotten 150 miles. So that's working with scale, both either deciding the actual distance, or we also practiced one in the reversal where if we were making the map, how far we would have to do those two cities apart. So that's working with a